This is Kardec Radio, bringing you the talk, the dynamics of our sixth sense, psychic and mediumistic phenomena in the light of Spiritism, given by Divaldo P. Franco, Brazilian medium and speaker. This partial audio recording will cover Chapter 3, The Birth of Spiritism. Enjoy. These phenomena took root in Paris, which was the mecca of fashion, fantasy, and the most notable minds at the time. It was the city of lights. The phenomena began, and a dedicated educator, Professor Hippolyte Léon Denizar-Reville, began to study them. Reville was a renowned educator and would later become the codifier of Spiritism. Allan Kardec was his pseudonym. The Spiritist basic literature compiled by Allan Kardec and consisted of the following books: The Spirit's Book, 1857, The Medium's Book, 1861, The Gospel Explained by Spiritism, 1864, Heaven and Hell, 1865, Genesis, 1867. After studying the occurrences, Professor Reville determined that these phenomena represented something very profound. At first, observing the turning tables and their messages, he concluded that this is not possible because a wood table which does not possess either a brain or a nervous system cannot think. Therefore, he asked a turning table, "How is it possible for you to think if you do not possess a brain?" And the table replied through signs, "It is not the table that thinks. It is the souls of the men and women who have lived on earth who are thinking for the table." He was very surprised. "So death does not interrupt life?" he asked. "No, death is a door of access to life. Nobody dies. The person only transfers themselves from one vibration to another." Professor Reville began to study those phenomena. On April 18, 1857, he published The Spirit's Book, which represented the dawn of a new era. Spiritualism already existed, and Allan Kardec proposed a new word, Spiritism, which is a science that studies the origin, nature, and destiny of spirits and the relations between the corporeal and the spiritual life. It is a science, but it is not a laboratory science, because the object of investigation is the psyche, individualities, and the spirits who come when they want. It is a science of observation. But at the same time that it is a science, it is also a philosophy, because it explains who we are, where we came from, where we are heading, and why we suffer. What is the purpose of our life on earth? Who has not asked this question yet? Why do evil people progress and the good ones suffer so much? Why are there so many contagious infectious diseases? What about birth defects? Why does the degeneration of the body happen? Why the misery of some and the abundance of others? Thus, our philosophy was born on the foundation of reincarnation. Reincarnation is not a theory generated by Spiritism. It is a philosophy of humanity. It is found in the basic works of Hindu philosophy from over 4,000 years old. Even Jesus mentioned reincarnation, but using other words, resurrection of the flesh. Accordingly, as we can find in Hebrew, greogu, which means to take a new body. So this philosophy has brought us great hope. Spiritism also brought to us a moral view of life and mediumship. What is this moral view? It is the gospel of Jesus because of its synthesis on the moral qualities of the gospel. Happy are those who love. Those who are loved are not always happy. All of those who wish to be loved are psychologically childish. They are never happy and always want more. In Brazil, there was a very peculiar case of a man who apparently was very happy in his marriage because he knew how to treat his wife. Women are a very special element in the universe. He always called his wife, "my flower of light," "sunshine of my life," "my sunshine," and she believed that. One day, a friend of his was visiting him and was thirsty. His friend asked if he could ask his wife to bring him a glass of water, and he said, "Love of my dreams, could you please fetch us a glass of water?" And she left the room, floating. His friend, who was a pessimist and did not have a very good relationship with his wife, turned to him and asked, "How can you be married to this witch for 30 years and still call her the woman of my dreams?" And he replied, "Because I forgot what her name was." Therefore, here is some advice to women. Whenever your husband says darling, you should ask him, "What is my name?" so that he will not forget it. So Spiritism is this philosophy that propagates love, compassion, and charity, the teaching of do not do unto others what you do not wish them to do unto you. This is the greatest ethico-moral proposition for humanity. This is the ethico-moral basis of religious consequences because it gives us a sense of religiousness that links us to God.